Transitioning from employee to designer doesn't have to be stressful, confusing, or hard. You simply just need the right resources and community to help guide the way. And I'm here to tell you, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Employee to Designer podcast. I'm your host, Monique Nicole, former advertising corporate executive turned retired interior decorator, and now a business coach for emerging interior design professionals. And I'm so glad you are here. If this is your first time joining the podcast, welcome. And if you are family to the Employee to Designer podcast, welcome back. So for those of you who don't know me and may have stumbled across this podcast, ironically, my story is probably a lot like yours. You see, I spent way too long feeling stuck in a job that didn't fulfill me, yearning for something more purposeful and liberating. And that's when I embarked on a quest to discover my true gifts and purpose, leading me to leave my corporate job and start my own six-figure residential interior design business over a decade ago. And through my journey of numerous trials and failures, I learned invaluable lessons about navigating the challenges of building, growing, and scaling a profitable interior design business. And my life's purpose now is to teach and share them all with you. So we're going to jump into today's episode. But before we do, I want to ask you a question. Do you desire to start your own interior design business so that you can work in your purpose, make more money, and create a life of fulfillment, but you don't know where to start? Or have you gone to design school, taken all the courses, and watched all the webinars to master your craft of interior design, still to be left confused and unclear on how to start, build, grow, and scale a thriving interior design business? Well, if you're nodding your head yes, I want you to know that you're in the right place. You see, drawing from my own experience of discovering my gift of interior design very late in my career, to building my part-time interior design business or working my full-time job, what I realized was that even with all of the education I had completed, including a master's degree, as well as an interior decorating degree, I never once learned how to start a business. And this is by design. You see, the educational system is designed to create employees, not entrepreneurs. This means that no matter how many degrees you get, you will still be ill-equipped and uneducated on how to start an interior design business, which is why I crafted the Employee to Designer Transition Plan, a free resource designed to seamlessly guide you through each crucial step of your journey towards starting, growing, and scaling a multi-figure residential interior design business. And this resource is designed to set you up for success for entrepreneurship by preparing and teaching you 6 key steps on how to build a multi-figure interior design business while leveraging and working your 9-to-5. Now, this plan isn't just theory, it's the exact roadmap I used to replace my 6-figure income within a year of starting my part-time interior design business. And within 3 years, I was able to confidently hand in my resignation letter, paving the way for a life of freedom and fulfillment. So if you're like me and crave a smart, responsible, and healthy transition into entrepreneurship, the Employee to Designer Transition Plan is your comprehensive guide and support system. So visit moniquenicole.co now to get your free copy so you can begin your journey of going from employee to designer today. And don't wait any longer to step into the life you truly desire and deserve. Visit moniquenicole.co today and download your free copy. Hello, and welcome to the Employee to Designer podcast, the podcast that empowers and teaches emerging interior designers and decorators how to turn their gifts into a multi-figure residential interior design business in a smart, responsible, and healthy way. I'm your host, Monique Nicole, and in today's episode, we'll be discussing a topic that will help you transition from employee to designer. And we're going to be talking about how to become a successful, sought-after interior designer, and specifically, what are the steps that you need to take to make this happen. So join us as we uncover the strategies, mindset shifts, and practical steps needed to turn your dream business into a thriving enterprise. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. It may be morning time, it may be the evening time, wherever you are. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And we're going to jump right into today's episode because this one, let me just tell you, is going to be good. Okay. Not that the rest of our episodes are not good, but this one is really, really going to be good because I think it's the one of the things that most emerging interior design professionals really try to figure out, and a lot of times are not quite sure how to figure this thing out. And that is how to become a successful, sought after interior design professional, right? So not just how to start a business, which of course, you guys know that is my jam. That's what I love coaching and teaching about. But this really is like how to become, like my grandmother used to say, the cream of the crop, right? Of what you do. So how do you become, or, New Culture calls it, how do you become the GOAT, right, of our industry of interior design? And so I want to talk about it. And honestly, this is what inspired me to kind of talk about this topic. Was I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a Instagram post by Real Mindset X. It's a inspirational kind of motivational page that I follow, and I can't remember the gentleman. I actually don't even know the gentleman's name, which is ironic. They didn't mention the person who was speaking, but it was a video of a gentleman, an older gentleman, talking about what it takes, right, to really be successful in business. And he made a few really great points that just really spoke to me and resonated with me as I was thinking back of like, okay, how did I become, a successful interior decorator when I was starting my business? And a lot of what he said really resonated with me. And I want to kind of start our podcast off with what he shared. And then I'm going to jump into some of the things that I know to be true and I've experienced on my own that is really critical for you to step into this space of, becoming a successful, and not just successful, but a sought after, right? And sought after really is what that means is, someone who people are searching for you, right? You don't have to chase them, but you become a professional that people are looking for, right? They're coming to you, they're searching for you. And I think that's kind of like the highest level that you can get as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. And I feel like, deep down inside, that's what we all want, right? We want to do the thing that we love, right? And not have to chase after it, right? So there's some key points I want to start out with. And one of the couple of things that he said was that you must become very good at something that is important and valuable to your audience, right? And he emphasized the word good. And so if you guys are on my email list, I sent out an email talking about like, what does good look like? And we're going to break that down today. If you're not on my email list, I want to encourage you to get on it. And you can do so by going to my website at moniquenicole.co.co. And you can enter your name and email address and also get you a free copy of our employee to designer transition plan. So, and you can obviously get on our email list that way. But anyway, so he said that, you must become very good at something that also is important and valuable to your audience. Okay. So we're going to break that down in a minute. He also said that there are no successful people who are average. That's good, right? Like I don't know if you guys remember this song by T.I. It was called Mediocre. And it was like, we don't want no mediocre. He was talking about, women, but that he didn't want a mediocre woman, right? And so that really resonated with me, because I think most people get into business and they're like, okay, I'm just going to start this business. I'm going to, wing my way through it. And then you want to become a millionaire, right? And you want to be like this sought after interior designer or decorator, but you haven't really put the work in, right? To be above average. Okay. So that's another point that I thought was great. And then he said, it takes a long time to become very good at something. So here's also the part that people get stuck at, is that most people will desire to start a business, start an interior design business, right? And then, a year, not even sometimes a year in, you might make it 6 months and you're like, this is hard. Like, I haven't gotten my first client, right? I know I've had, designers tell me they've been in business, or they've been in business for, some time, and they haven't had any clients, or they're not having steady income, right? And the reason why is probably because you're not that great, right? And I know that's hard to hear, but you need to hear it because it's fixable, right? That's the great thing, is that it is fixable, but you got to become better. You got to get better. And so I loved that he mentioned that. He also said that you must be determined from the very beginning to work extra hours to become very good at the work that you do, right? And this kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said before, that it takes a long time, right, to get good at something. And so the truth is that you don't have to necessarily work hard, but you do have to work extra, right? Meaning you have to really put in effort to become good at something and good at what you do. Okay. And then he summarized and said, if you do this, every door of opportunity will open for you. Your self-confidence will go up. People will admire you. They'll respect you. And even your clients will open doors for you. And I loved this because this was my experience. And this is what a lot of our employee to designer members and graduate, experience, right? They experience this like transformation of going from just someone who desired to start a business and was trying to figure it out, to starting the business, building the business the right way, right? With a solid foundation, a solid knowledge of what they're doing in their work, honing their craft, having honed their craft, I should say. And they're in this place where it's like they've learned how to separate themselves. They've learned how to stand out. And most importantly, they've become good at what they do. Okay. And so when that happens, it's like, it's beautiful, because you stop, like I said, having to chase after the clients and the work that you want to do. And it's interesting. It's like, it just automatically starts to come to you. And so your work really becomes enjoyable, because now you're not, in this rat race like you're probably accustomed to being if you've, worked a job in your life. And you get to really experience what it's like to be a healthy, happy entrepreneur. And here is the challenge, though, with all of that. While all of that is beautiful and it's possible, and I've seen it happen, I've helped hundreds of interior designers make this happen, only 10% of the population knows this, right? Knows this secret. And so I want to break this down so that, one, you're aware, you are informed on what to do and how to do this, and you are in a place where you have the information so that you can start to implement it, in your life and in your business. So let's break this down. Right? So when I listened to this, I was like, wow, this is good, right? But then obviously I had a question, and the next question that came to my mind was, okay, well, how do you get good, right? Like, how do you become good at something? And I see this a lot in the athletic space, and you probably have seen it before as well, where, when you think about it, like some of the great athletes, like our Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans of the world, right? One, if you've ever watched their story, I've watched several, and I'm not even a sports person, but I like the uniqueness about athletes. And I like the uniqueness in the sense that the truth is that they have to become really good, right? To become great and to really attribute to the team and be an asset to the team and really stand out, right? Because if you think about it, there's not a whole lot of space. There's not a lot of spots as an athlete, right? So you have to become the cream of the crop to become good and to be recognized and to stand out, right? Because if you think about it, like there's a million interior designers. Let's just be honest, right? You know, if you go from every state, if you count every interior designer, decorator in every state of the United States and even internationally, right? There's a lot of us, a whole lot of us. And we're still coming, right? You know, that's why interior design programs and, educational programs are big business, right? Because people want to become an interior designer. And then our generation, the generation after us, are going to produce more people who want to, do this work, right? But when you think about the athletic space, there's not a lot of spots on the team. There's only a handful of teams, right? And I'm just talking about in the context of like basketball, right? And just for this example, there's only so many spots. So that means that the demand is very high, or excuse me, the demand is high for you to be good because there's limited space. So you got to be really good in order to like not just make the team, but like to become a great, like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant or, any of these athletes or, the Allen Iversons of the world, right? I'm from Virginia, so I had to shout him out. But when you think about it, it's like, man, you got to be really good, right? And that's why if you've ever heard Kobe Bryant's story, and regardless of what you think about him or his life or whatever, right? He was a great, and his story tells you how he became good, and not just good, but great, right? He took it a step further. And it's because of some simple principles that I'm going to share with you. But I will say it's because mostly he put in the work, right? He outworked everybody around him. And if you think about athletes, right, the ones that are good, that make the, NBA teams, most of them have the story that they started playing when they were a child, right? So if you think about somebody who's been honing their craft from childhood, think about the time that it probably took them up until they became an adult, right? And got drafted on the team or, got, picked for the team and actually started playing professionally. Think about how long that took. And so this is why when the gentleman said in the post, in the video, that it takes a long time to become very good at something, I knew that was truthful, because when you look at people who are considered very good, most of the time it goes back to their childhood of them honing their craft. And so I wanted to just share that example because I want to put today's episode in the right context, right? So yes, you can become a successful sought after interior designer, but I really want you to know what that means, right? Because when you step into entrepreneurship and you make the decision, right? Because it's a decision. You don't have to start a business. You don't have to build a business, right? This is the decision that you make. I want you to know what comes with it. And so that you're prepared and you're willing and you've made your decision based on what you're willing to do. And so the first thing that I want to share with you on how to become a successful sought after interior designer is that you need to have some education and training. Now, I know that there are interior design professionals out there, and there's, people who have come to me and said, hey, I don't have any experience, or I have, I'm self-taught. Well, that's fine, right? Being self-taught is great. And I think you need a little bit of that. But I also do believe that you need some type of formal education and training. And this is important because what that does is it gives you the foundation that you need, right? There's certain things that you can learn and experience by being self-taught and, doing your own design projects and maybe helping someone else out and learning on the job, right? But there's nothing like actually learning the foundation of something, like the principles, the origin of, studying something, right? And that's where the formal education comes in. And I think it's so important for the foundation of your education of what we do, so that your experience is just kind of like the cherry on the top, right? That just makes you greater, right? It's like an athlete. If they're not taught, right, by a coach, like really how to do certain techniques like, dribbling, right? That's foundational stuff, right? Dribbling, passing the ball, right? Being a team player, right? I don't know, like, dribbling in between your legs, like, right? All those things, shooting, like mastering your shot from all the different points on the court, right? Those are the foundational things and trainings that an athlete needs, the same way we need a foundational training and education for our industry. So I highly encourage you to do some research and enroll in a reputable design school and get a degree. It doesn't have to be a full, master's or bachelor's degree in interior design, but where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. So I definitely encourage you to invest in, education and maybe architecture, or, learning CAD, if that's something that you want to do, or color theory, right? But just don't stop at a degree, right? Again, that live experience is important. So if you want to get the degree, great. Another option is to get additional certifications, such as, different specific certifications that you can get in really specific skill sets. And a lot of them you can find at the National Council for Interior Design Qualifications. NCIDQ is what it's short for. But you can look them up, and a lot of times they'll have some certifications that you can take as well. But you got to get some formal education and training, right? Because that is your foundation. Now, number 2, you want to develop your eye, right? This is something that, it's kind of like, again, going back to the athlete, like as a kid, a lot of times they're developing their style of, dribbling, their style of playing the game, right? With us, it's very similar, where you want to start to immerse yourself and expose yourself to design and art. I remember as a little girl, while living in Virginia, my mom used to take me to the parade. They used to call it the Parade of Homes. And it was here in Williamsburg, Virginia. And every year they would bring in designers, and they would design these beautiful homes. Like just, from every room, it was like custom designed and just beautiful. And they were like the show models to help sell, homes at a new community that they were developing or opening up. Feeling stuck in your 9-to-5 job, but dreaming of starting your own interior design business? Or tired of endlessly searching YouTube and webinars only to feel more confused about where to begin? Or maybe you've been held back by imposter syndrome, doubting your qualifications because you are new to interior design or just don't come from a family of business owners. Or perhaps the fear of what others will think has kept you from taking the leap, including fear of not being able to make enough money to support you and your family, equaling a failed business, or a fear of not having enough time to work your job and start a business, equaling failing before you start. Well, let me say this. Don't let fear hold you back any longer. It's time to silence those doubts and take control of your destiny by inviting you to join us in the Employee to Designer coaching program. And if you're looking to start a business in interior design, our coaching program, Employee to Designer, is designed to help you turn your gifts into a multi-figure business that brings you joy, fulfillment, and financial freedom. Enrollment is now open. You can choose from 4 membership levels based on the amount of private coaching and support that you feel you need. And as a member, you'll get access to the course, monthly coaching sessions with me live, where you can ask questions and connect with other members, as well as access to over 20 plus hours of business trainings and access to our ETD VIP Members Club, where you have monthly challenges for cash and prizes, and where I share daily business tips and industry news to help you grow your interior design business. So if you're ready to start creating the interior design business and life that you truly want and deserve, join us in the program and let us guide you on your journey from employee to designer. Visit MoniqueNicole.co to learn more and enroll today. Every year I would be so excited because she would take me to the parade of homes. And it usually was like a 3 or 4 day, no, it's probably about a week or so, maybe a week event. And we would go and we would go in the homes and I would just be in awe of like the lighting and the artwork that they used and the furniture and just everything. And I remember as a little girl being like, gosh, when I grow up, I want a house like this, or I want to, at that time I was like, I was getting introduced into the interior design industry. And I was like, I would say, I want to design and decorate my home like this, and I would pick out things. I'd say, me and my mom, we would look at like the light fixtures and she'd be like, do you like that chandelier? And I'd say like, no, I would like something a little bit more, contemporary or, and so all of these things were like developing my senses and my eye for design. So I want to encourage you to do that right now. That's something that I was, blessed to experience because my mom exposed it to me at a very early age. But you can start to do this now. Like you can go to art galleries or attend design shows, right? So that you can stay up to date with like the latest trends and just start to really develop what we call develop your eye for design. And that's going to help you to figure out what are the things that you like, what's your style, what are the different things that you gravitate to. And it's really just going to help you to explore all of the different avenues and opportunities that you can take your business through as you, start to build your business. Okay. So the key is just understanding the aesthetics to designing beautiful spaces, right? And so when I would walk through those homes that I would look at, it was training me. It was training my eye and my knowledge around design, right? At a very early age. And so it's okay if you didn't have that experience like I had, but you can start to, again, do this now to start to train your eye on, how to design different spaces in different ways, right? All right. So number 3 is you want to have some practical experience. So I know we started out with, getting education, a foundation of formal education, but gaining practical experience is also important. And what that means is you want to gain some hands-on experience, whether it be through an internship or an entry-level position, maybe. I've worked in my past, I worked in retail, right? And that actually taught me a lot. When I say retail, I worked for a design showroom called Bassett, a furniture company. But they also, sold rugs, they sold lighting, they sold obviously furniture. And I actually got the opportunity to be and act as a designer in the sense where, our clients, most of the furniture they sold was custom. And so I would be able to put design presentations together and, present to the client. So it taught me presentation skills. It taught me obviously sales skills that I needed to run my own business when I was running my business. And it taught me how to handle clients and, provide value to our clients. So having that hands-on experience is really valuable for you. And it's going to help you in, becoming successful in your line of work as a designer or a decorator. Okay. And then number 4, this is the next one, is you want to also get some technical skills, right? So what I mean by technical skills is you want to master the tools of the trade, right? So things like becoming proficient in design software like AutoCAD, if, you're looking to become an interior designer and you're going to be, needing to work with architects, or, you're going to be actually building houses or breaking down walls and reconstructing, the interiors of a home. AutoCAD is going to be very important for you to learn. SketchUp is another tool that you can use. And then also Adobe Creative Suite is also very helpful, especially if you're looking to, put design boards together and use different, designing software. Adobe Creative Suite is a great program to learn. Now, if you're looking to become an interior decorator, like myself, you don't necessarily need all of some of these advanced tools, like I just mentioned. A good alternative is design files, and I love them. I've used them in my business, and it doesn't require any really complicated learning of like AutoCAD and things like that, but you can create some really stunning mood boards, concept boards, design boards to help create the visuals, the design visuals to share with your clients. But these tools are going to help you translate your ideas in your head, right, into actionable plans that you can sell to your clients. Because that's essentially what you're doing, is when you are an interior designer, a decorator, right, the goal is to bring the vision of your client's desires to life that they want in their home, but they have to see it, right? That's one of the main reasons why people hire interior design professionals, is because they can't see it, right? That's the gift that we carry. We carry the vision, right? And so a lot of times, right, because you can't really articulate the vision, right, when you're talking about designing or decorating a client's home, you have to show them because they can't see it. And that's why they're paying you to do it for them. And so these tools will help you to communicate the ideas in your head that you have on how to design and decorate their home into actionable plan that you can share with them. Right. And then ultimately get their buy-in and help them, make the transformation, which is such a beautiful thing. All right. So these technical skills are important, right? So you need education, you need technical skills, you also need some practical experience, and you want to start to develop that eye, right? Now, once you've done all of this is kind of like the training ground, right? So if you think about going back to an athlete, right, going to the court every day and just dribbling the ball, right? That's, practicing those practical skills, right? Shooting, making sure that you can, master the 3-point shot, right? Those are, developing that eye, making sure that you can see the basket and you can sink the ball in the basket, right? And then obviously the technical skills, some of those maneuvers, I remember watching Allen Iverson play. I would go to see him play, when he would play in high school. And I remember just seeing him play, and it's oh my God, that dude is just a beast. His crossover was just sick. And that it was a very technical skill that he had that not a lot of other players had. And that's what made him so good, right? It was he had mastered this thing. And so even though he wasn't the tallest player on the team, he might not have even been the best shooter. Once he got the ball, you weren't getting the ball back. And a lot of other athletes, even on his team, his teammates weren't as good in that area. And that's a very technical skill. And so that's what I mean when I say technical skills, honing in those technical skills so that you can, stand out. And in our case, it's, learning these programs so that you can, again, translate your ideas, right, into an actionable plan. Okay, so that's the first 4. All right. So if you're taking notes, here's number 5. Number 5 is all about finding your style. Now, this kind of falls under building your unique design identity, right? So once you've got like the foundational stuff down, now it's all about like really, honing in on your unique style and your niche, right? So finding your style is really important because it's going to allow you to experiment with different styles so that you can see what resonates not only with you, right? So what type of design do you want to do? Meaning, do you want to do residential? Maybe you want to do commercial. Maybe you want to do home staging, right? So those are like different styles. Or maybe you want to specialize in feng shui or window treatments. Like there's so many different things that you can focus on, right? Also, different styles could mean focusing on more of a modern aesthetic or rustic, or maybe you want to be the designer that's known to, help people create minimalistic spaces or eclectic spaces, right? So whatever that is, you have to find that out for yourself because you're finding your unique style is what's going to help you to connect with your unique audience, right? Because there's always a need for a specific style, right? Most people don't necessarily know what furniture to pick out, but they know what they like, right? So for example, you might get a new client and you take them to a furniture store and you might, say to them, they might point out, hey, I really like, low profile, furniture, very minimalist, very contemporary. Well, that's a style, right? And so you're going to start to see like, okay, what are the styles that your clients like? And you want to make sure that it aligns with what you like, right? Because then that's going to be like the perfect marriage for working with your clients and attracting your ideal clients. So the next thing, number 6, is all about creating a portfolio. Okay, so once you found your style, you've probably got a few clients under your belt. Now you have to start creating a portfolio, right? This was one of the things that I remember very early on in starting my business that I was very intentional about. And I was very intentional because I knew the power of sharing my work with people and what that would do for me to be able to share my style and attract more of my ideal clients. And so I knew I had to have proof. It's like you got to have receipts, right? For the athlete, right? Their portfolio is every time they get on that court and they make the shots, right? And they make the points. They help, win the game. That's their portfolio. Because anybody can go back and look at that game and be like, man, he was good. Like, man, he, scored, 28 points, this game alone by himself, right? Or, as a team or whatever. But the portfolio is a portfolio. It's a showcase of your work, okay? And it's your best marketing tool, right? So I remember when I first started, I said, I got to get a project under my belt, right? Because I didn't want to just start out, marketing my services and I didn't have something, right? And so I think that's kind of the biggest challenge that a lot of times we have when we're first starting out. It's like, well, I don't have any, pictures of projects yet. So I was very intentional. So the very first project that I ever did was actually my best friend's home. She had just bought a home in North Carolina. And I was like, hey, I got to get some pictures. I got to showcase my work, right? Even though I don't have any clients yet. And she was like, okay, I was actually looking to decorate my bedroom and the living room. And so, hey, I'll be happy to be your guinea pig. And so she actually let me come into her home. I treated her as if she was a real client. We did the consultation. I talked to her about what her design vision was for both spaces. And then I told her, go away for the day. It was actually for 2 days because I went up for like 2 or 3 days. And we did everything else remotely. She sent me pictures and all that. online. And then I flew down and I was there for about two days. Yeah. And I had gotten, all the, she already had her furniture, but we did end up doing some painting of her furniture. And then I went and purchased everything else that I needed. And I flew down there, got everything set up and designed her spaces. And I remember, her saying to me like, man, this is amazing. Like it literally, we compared the picture of a magazine that she had showed me how she wanted her bedroom decorated. And I decorated it to the T. Like it looked just like it. And she was blown away. And so I took pictures of that. And that was what I went around showing everyone. I was so excited. Like I had professional pictures and I finally had a project under my belt that I could share. Like this is what I can do, right? And so your portfolio is your marketing tool, okay? And so you want to include a variety of projects that can showcase your versatility or your design style, right? And you can do that from one project, right? You can do that just by taking pictures of different rooms that you've decorated or highlighting what I like to call focus images where you're, taking pictures of maybe the chandelier or a lighting fixture or a specific rug that's a certain style, right? To kind of just hone in on your design style, okay? Because the truth is that each project can tell a story and it can highlight your problem solving skills and your design styles, right? So you want to create a portfolio and just keep creating, keep adding to it. So every time you get a design project, I don't care if it's a hallway, okay? You make sure that you get it well photographed, okay? So you might have to, I'll tell you, my first photographer was the drummer at my church, real talk. And you know how I found him? Because I was not afraid to open my mouth and I was running my mouth about that first design project that I got. I was so excited. And he overheard and was like, oh, you looking for a photographer? Because I was working on my next project. And I said, yeah, I'm looking for a photographer. But, I was like, I'm just starting out. My business just starting out. I don't have a lot of money. But, I need somebody who can take good photos, but it's not going to charge me an arm and a leg. And he was like, oh, well, that's what I do kind of like on the side. And he sent me some pictures and I was like, okay, let's do it. And the next project I did was I actually used another photographer for the next project, but the projects after that, he was like my photographer for all of my other projects. And he would charge me like $300 to like photograph an entire home that I designed, right? So he was super affordable and he was really good. And so you can find people who are willing and able and excited about working with you that can be a resource to you, okay? And then last but not least is building client relationships. Okay, so again, we're talking about how to become a successful, sought-after interior designer, right? And what does good look like, right? Because the secret and the answer to that question is you have to become very good at what you do, right? And we already discovered it's going to take a little while, right? Because you gotta go through these things, go through this process of developing yourself. And so this last one is just about building relationships, client relationships specifically, because you have to, as you start your business and as you start to even, get the word out there that you're in business, relationships are crucial. Okay. Because you just never know where your next client's going to come from. And I believe that, God works through people. And so you cannot, I repeat, you cannot build a successful business where you are sought after by yourself. And so if you are the type of person that's like, oh, I'm scared to talk to people, I'm scared to, share what I do and share my business, you might want to reconsider entrepreneurship. Because even if you're working a job, right, just in life, right, you have to do life with people. You can't do life by yourself. Like, life just doesn't work like that. because God designed us to connect and support and love one another and love people. And so, to build a successful business, you got to learn how to work with people and build relationships. And so, this is really important. And this is the skill set that you're going to have to hone, right? So you have to learn how to listen to your clients' needs, right? Be slow to speak and quick to listen, right? Because your clients will tell you what they want if you just close your mouth and listen, okay? You also have to learn how to understand their vision, right? Not your vision, but their vision. And learn how to communicate effectively, okay? And when you do this and you become good at doing this, right, you'll create happy clients with strong relationships, and they will become your best advocates and your best referrals, okay? And so when you think about it, like from an athlete's perspective, right, they have to learn how to read their teammates. They have to know, like, okay, my teammate's about to pass me the ball. I got to be ready, right? They have to understand the vision of the team and that this is not just a one-man show, but this is a team effort, right? And we're here to win this championship. And so you got to go in with the mindset that this is what the goal is, right? And so in our case, it's like, okay, what is the goal of your client? What do they want to do? What do they want? What are they yearning for? And then you have to be able to communicate, right? Like when you think about an athlete, when they go on the sidelines and they're in that huddle and they only have a few seconds because the clock is dwindling down, right? Guess what? Their coach has to communicate. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to execute when you go back out on that court, right? And the teammates have to communicate, right? And they have their own communication because they can't really talk while they're playing, right? So they have to know, like, okay, when he looks at me like this, that means I got to be ready to catch the ball. Or when he, does his number, right? That's my cue. Okay, I got to be ready to play defense, right? That's communication. And we all can communicate differently, right? Athletes communicate with their body and their eyes, their other attributes of their body. We can communicate verbally, right? And we can also listen very well. And that's what will create happy clients. And I promise you, when you become good at all of these things, you won't have to wonder where your next client's going to come from. You won't have to go searching for them. They'll come searching for you because you would have created a version of yourself that is sought after. And do you know what sought after means, right? Do you know what sought after means? I'm going to actually look up the definition because I just want to know. It means in demand, generally desired, okay? And the example that they give is the most expensive and sought after perfume. So it's high quality because you heard it said it, the most expensive. Or like I mentioned, my grandmother used to say, the cream of the crop. You're not going to find another one like this, right? So these are the 7 key things that I want to encourage you to start to implement, start thinking about, because this is what's going to help you to become good. And only the good and the greats become successful and sought after at what they do, right? And so you've got the hack, you've got the secret now. It's out of the bag. Now the question is, what are you going to do with this information? So I want to encourage you to listen to this again. This is actually a 2-part episode. I'm going to be talking about next week how to further become good at what you do through marketing yourself and your services, because there's another set of skill sets and things that you're going to need to focus on and to implement to really become good, right? Okay. And so we're going to talk about that next week, but I wanted to keep this to a minimum. So I'm trying to keep these within like 30 to 40 to 50 minutes so that you're not having to invest too much time at one time. But I want to get you this information. So I hope this was helpful. And just in summary, becoming good and highly sought after as an interior design professional is a journey, right? It combines education, you're going to need experience, and obviously a passion for design. But by honing your skills and building, a unique identity for yourself, and then also marketing yourself effectively and providing exceptional value to your clients, you can carve out a successful and fulfilling career in interior design. Okay. And it's absolutely possible, but you got to get good. Okay. And I want to help you to do that. So I want to thank you for tuning in to today's episode of How to Become a Successful, Sought After Interior Designer. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate this episode, and leave a review. I love to hear your feedback, your questions. I love to hear all of that. So leave me a review or a comment. And also don't forget to follow me on social media for more tips and inspiration. So until next time, keep designing with passion and purpose. And I can't wait to talk to you next week. Take care.